As there's always the question about what foods to eat and what diet to be on, what meal planning should I have? This is pretty easy. Um, if you're eating the same foods every day, all the time, that I do not recommend. You say, well, that just digests well with me. You need to be like farmers with their crops. You know, the thing about crops and old farmers will tell you is when you have a certain crop growing, there'll be a time that they'll stop growing that crop on that side of the field and even let the fields rest. They still let some fields not plow, not plant for several years to let the soil replenish itself. And so the old farmers knew that. Today, the farming methods have changed and they don't allow the ground to heal itself, to replenish its minerals. And plus, all the pesticides, insecticides, herbicides are so potent, they basically sanitize the soil. We were told over 20 years ago that the soil will become deficient in the good bacteria. Because, you know, you think about your gut, what makes your gut healthy is having healthy bacteria. And we have pounds of bacteria in our body, pounds and pounds. And so where do you get these good bacteria from? Well, it's not just taking the probiotic, it's actually from the soil. When that plant is down in the soil, there's a whole lot of life going on in the soil. There's earthworms that just their waste and other bugs' waste is actually refertilizing the soil as well. So these microscopic bacteria that are in the soil, the plant actually sucks up with its root system, sucks up these bacteria. And then we get the plant and we eat that plant and those bacteria get into our gut. This is how it's been done for ages and ages to get a healthy gut, is to have the healthy bacteria in the soil. That's why it's so important to have, first of all, organic soil, but soil that has bacteria. So with all these pesticides, insecticides, you're basically nuking the ground. And like I said, I forgot the guy's name. I have the document. I'll search one day and pull it up for you guys, where it said 20 years ago, they said the soil will be deficient. And that means the bodies will be deficient. And that means probiotics will be needed to be taken by people on a regular basis every day. And we are here now. You must take probiotics because our grandparents today, my mother, my father, they had their own garden. They ate out of their garden. They had a healthy immune system because the soil was healthy. So for you to have a healthy system, eating out of the soil, unless you grow in your own garden, again, or get some local organic farmers with a good soil, you're not getting those bacteria in your body anymore. So you'll have to take in the probiotics. So remember, that was just 20 years ago. They said will be sanitized. All those microscopic bacteria are not in the soil anymore, in commercial farming at least. And it's because of the chemicals. So with that out of the way, now you understand the difference in healthy food is having healthy soil. And so when you don't have these good bacteria, the bad bacteria, like they call Clostridia bacteria, they take over. And if you don't know the name Clostridia bacteria, you can simply go to my YouTube site and search. There's videos just on Clostridia bacteria. These are the ones that create conditions by making your hormones out of your body out of balance, and create conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar. And look at all the ADD, ADHD kids with all the different mood swings and trouble balancing. The parents go, he can't do without his drugs. Well, yes, he can do without these ADD drugs. These Adderalls are like given out like candy at school. That's where they don't just hand it out to the kids at school. This is because of all these chemicals in the body and their gut is not healthy. They don't have enough of the good bacteria. And so the candida, the mold, the parasites, they all flourish, but especially the Clostridia bacteria. When these bacteria flourish, you're going to find emotional disorders. They're always there. You say, well, that doesn't bother me. Well, let's ask your husband or your wife. They may go, yeah, they're Clostridia. So you can always wear the t-shirt that says blame it on the Clostridia. Okay. But the idea is do something about it, right? First of all, change your foods. Make sure your food is balanced to how you eat. The old biorhythms of the body tell you when you eat meat, you must eat a vegetable. But if you eat the good old Texas way, here's a steak, here's a potato. Well, potato, first of all, is a heavy starch, and you have the heavy meat, right? The meat needs a more acidic gut. You need like a 1.5 pH in your belly to break down that meat. And then the potato needs more of an alkaline, more neutral type of a enzyme or let's say environment in the gut to break it down. So you introduce two contradicting foods into the belly. Guess what happens? They both of them are incomplete digested. So you have putrefaction. You have the rotting of these foods in your intestines because they're not breaking down. And when this happens, here comes bloating, here comes gas, here comes all those things. Genetically modified foods are kind of the same. We have a tomato, and then a tomato, they put salmon DNA. Why would they do that? Well, because the tomatoes can survive the frost better. If you put Arctic salmon DNA in that tomato, it can survive the freezing much better. But when that goes into your gut, your body's like, okay, I think that's a tomato, but is that a fish? And so your body can't identify, your DNA has to identify with this food to see what this is. And if it cannot identify that it's something healthy, what does it do? It immediately sends in your white blood cells to attack it. And that's what your immune system does. Every time you eat, it's attacking what's not supposed to be there to help break it down. So if every time you eat a meal and you're eating genetically modified foods or other foods your body can identify, you're going to have an immune reaction. So if you're doing that every time you eat, having this overreaction by your immune system, what happens? You weaken your immune system. You understand? So by always overusing your immune system, you weaken it. So it no longer seems to work 100% like it did before. So know that proteins digest better with green foods. You're going to eat meat, chicken, beef, fish, things like this. Just know there's something green peas, asparagus, a salad, some kind of different salads out there. Something green. Those two things agree with each other. They digest well. When you eat starches digest better with veggies. So you eat veggies and starches together to digest those. Now, when I have people do like a candida cleanse, mold cleansing, they always do like a paleo type diet, a meat and vegetable only. They remove the fruit, they remove the starches. And that way I know they're going to have a better digestion, and they're also not going to feed the bad bacteria, including the candida and mold. So along with combining your foods in the right order, like going to a buffet, if you go to a Chinese buffet and you're just shoving it all down like I used to when I was younger, let your stomach figure it out. Well, guess what? Once again, your immune system is going to freak out. You get bloated. You have to go to sleep because your body can't break it down, right? That's what's happening. It weakens your body. But if you eat a meat and vegetable, if you're eating the paleo type diet, you'll notice you have energy after you eat, which is wonderful. But include a bunch of starches, you'll need a nap, or at least feel like you need a nap. So the other things involved in this is the nightshades, which years ago they said, oh, the nightshades, that's just false news. Well, the false news is the medical society, which we already knew hundreds of years ago, that nightshades cause gut problems. So catch up, medical world. The natural world already knows the answer. Nightshades include like tomatoes. The skin of the tomatoes can cause gut inflammation. Peppers, bell peppers, jalapeno peppers, these kind of peppers cause gut inflammation. Cayenne does not. When you need to switch over to something that's digestible easier and it helps your stomach with circulation, is actually cayenne. Cayenne helps increase the blood flow, right? So jalapeno peppers you can exclude for a while. So tomatoes, jalapenos, potatoes, eggplants, these things, these are nightshades. And it doesn't mean completely eliminate them from your diet, but when you do say a 2-month protocol of like a paleo, trying to kill some kind of bacteria in your body, remove those from your diet and eat maybe a tomato once a week, maybe an eggplant once a week. Just eat much more lighter on the nightshades if you don't exclude them altogether. Remember, you got a long life, guys, and so there's plenty of times to add these other foods later. But for a short time, remove those or just greatly reduce the amount that you eat. And the other thing is the calcium oxalates. This is one that's overlooked greatly. And I have a video, once again, look on the side, you'll see a video just about calcium oxalates. But just a review for you right now watching, calcium oxalates, the highest there is, yes, Popeye ate it and got really strong in the cartoons, but spinach, 1,200 milligrams for a cup and a half, maybe right at 2 cups of spinach. So like a lot of people, years ago, I was wondering why my body was so stiff. I feel like I was so stiff, getting like an old person, right? Well, if you want to remove the stiffness, you got to get the calcium out of your soft tissues because you have excess calcium oxalates deposits into your soft tissues. It deposits what? You have kidney stones, which is calcium oxalates and phosphorus. You have stones get into your brain, on your nervous system, into your muscle tissue. Old injuries get stiff in your body. So the calcium oxalate, the highest is spinach. So remove for 2 months, take spinach out of your diet, take kale out of your diet. These all have high oxalates. Chlorella, spirulina, these type of green foods, these are the ones you want to consume more of during the time. But you look at what else has high calcium oxalates. There's a lot of fruits that have high calcium oxalates, but breads, wheat is high calcium oxalate. Well, I'm going to go gluten-free. Okay. Well, look at buckwheat. Buckwheat is high calcium oxalate. Sweet potatoes, high calcium oxalate. Almond butter, almond milk. Okay, these things are, so well, I'll do better. I'll get away from dairy and I'll drink almond milk. Well, loaded full of calcium oxalates. So for a short time, by the way, what does not is coconut. So you switch to coconut powder or coconut milks for a while. It just means like the crops. My main point here is the crops. Rotate the foods you eat. Eat different fruits. Go a couple months with one way and switch back to another way. And then you can reintroduce your old friends and foods and wrong eating, and you'll immediately see a difference in how you feel. But those calcium oxalates, guys, when those get high in your body, there's a urine test, the organic acid test shows you when these are high, that also means what? Means your liver is not functioning properly. Oh, but Dr. Price, I did the ALS and I did the AST test, a blood test says I'm okay. So you're going to tell me these two tests that you did on the blood test are going to determine the whole function of the liver. Wrong. False news. That is a myth. What happens with those type of tests, it tells you that your liver is dying. If your liver cells are dying rapidly, then that test tells you something. But to have a sluggish liver, that does not help you at all. You have to do a urine test, metabolite test, and look at glutathione levels. If your glutathione levels are plummeting, your liver is working probably 20%. And believe me, anybody watching this video right now, your liver is not functioning 100% unless you have done several liver flushes and did some cleansing of your pathogens. You have to get your liver to work better. It can process the foods. It can circulate the blood. It does so many things. So remember, nightshades, calcium oxalates. Take care of those for a while. If you guys, I have plenty of those, like I said, YouTube videos out there to explain what those are. If you don't see those, I'll put up there the calcium oxalate list. I have a good list of what those are and how you can avoid that for a short time and then reintroduce it later. It's all about learning moderation, guys. Moderation is the name of the game when it comes to eating. All right, guys, I'm Dr. Price. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.